Welcome today, everyone, for this live Facebook Live on LKP SPIP. It's a 7 pick investment plan. It's a very interesting product which has been, distinguished from many of the market products which have already been present, for many of the clients and investors. Now, before that, I'll first of all, brief about myself. I don't know if you guys know me. I'm Kunal Bothra. I'm one of the ex LKPs, and I'm now currently a consultant with ETNow. I appear on the daily channels over there, and I have my live shows regarding the technicals of the markets. I do recommend a lot of stocks, etc. So keep watching ET now for knowing more updates on how the markets pan out. Just talking about markets briefly, as you must have seen that last few days has been a bit of a more chop and churn move for markets. The Nifty is finding it a bit difficult to hold on to that 10,000 mark. And there are a lot of reasons why Nifty is taking resistance. So on one hand, the bigger point over here, which one has to understand, is what's happening across the globe. See, on one hand, the U.S. markets had a fantabulous rally. Nasdaq, almost hit a new high in that regards. And from there on, there has been some sort of a correction which has come across for global markets. So I think there's some bit of nervousness trying to creep in into those global indices, and whether the fact is that whether reality is actually dawning upon the markets or not. So I think that's a big question mark which has been pondering the thoughts of a lot of investors, fund managers, institutions, etc. So I think that's one very important point to take note of, that the global markets go through a maybe one more round of a correction or some sort of a cool off that should generally trickle into effects in our markets as well. The other point to note is I think the lack of the news flow which has come across from our markets as well. So in the last few months, 1.5 months specifically, there was some results based trigger and expectation that maybe the results could pan out quite well or quite bad for many of the stocks. But post that news flow, the markets have gotten a bit of a hang that yes, maybe the first in the last quarter of 2019-20, I think has sort of been factored in, and everyone is now waiting for the first quarter results. I think that's going to be the most important trigger. So I think end of this quarter, June end, is where the first quarter ends. The Q1 FY21. So I think in that regards, that's going to be one important aspect which the markets would wait for. Then you come to the local factors like the FIIs and how they've been positioning into our markets. And you've seen in the last 3-4 days that there has been some change in the characteristics in which the FIIs have pursued. So I think from the May rally, the end of May rally, when the markets began shooting up, there was a good amount of FII inflow, which came back into our markets. But I think now you're seeing some bit of, profit booking. You can call it some positions being offloaded or some longs being unwounded. So I think in that regards, there has been some profit booking or some unwinding of positions from the FII, maybe on the index front, etc. The other factor to look at is what's happening on the geopolitical side. I think as all of you must have definitely read it on the news, etc., that how there are some skirmishes between India and China across the border, and I think that's going to be one important aspect to look out for. The developments over here would keep the market on a bit of a tender hook. So I think that's the whole backdrop of how the markets are shaping up, and what is the reality check for the markets over the next maybe short term to medium term. Now, why are we here for? The reason why I've come across on the Facebook Live for all of you guys is to introduce this very interesting product on LKP SPIP. The SPIP, we call it as a 7 picks investment plan. So it's basically a strategy or a product which LKP has or LKP Securities has designed. There is an investment committee in IC team which looks after the composition of stocks. I'm part of the IC as a consultant to LKP as well. And I think one of the key reasons why this product is very I would say important and encouraging a lot of investors, we're encouraging a lot of investors to participate in this product, is because of the risk profile. Now that in the last 3-4 months the characteristics of the markets have changed. Earlier it was a very moderate or very low risk kind of a market. Now with this Feb and March correction, things have gotten a bit jittery for the markets. Traders, investors are now feeling a bit discomfort when they are looking to invest or park their money into the market. So I think in that regards, That's going to be one important aspect or a distinguishing factor for the SPIP product. So what we have on SPIP is a moderate risk profile, kind of a product which suits a lot of variety of clients, investors, etc. So, for example, if you are new to the stock market, you want to build in a portfolio. Plus, at the same time, you want to ensure that it's not very very long term and it's not extremely short term oriented, like a weekly pick or an intraday kind of a scenario. Then I believe SPIP fits pretty well for your outlook. It tries to amalgamate the themes of long-term fundamental quality stocks as well as short-term, where you look to time the stocks and look out for quality picking in terms of the overall chart structures and the technical structures for each individual name. So there are whole host of factors which actually go into when we try to pick in those 7 stocks. So at the end of every month is where the investment committee actually sits across, discusses, deliberates on how these 20 stocks which are shortlisted gets narrowed down to the top 7 one. There is a whole process, there is a whole theoretical aspect which is involved over here. And then with our experience, our forecast or our analysis of how likely the next quarter or the next 2 quarters could probably pan out, we try and dish out the 13 ones from the shortlisted 20, and then we finalize the top 7 picks for each month. It's a very interesting report, trust me guys, because in the last 3 months specifically, which have been very turbulent for the markets, we've developed and we've given some fantastic returns for our clients. So I think the month of April and May, particularly, the returns were as high as 7.4% approximately. You can see the link and the details of the product on the bio as well as on the link which has been mentioned on the chat box. So we have a special con call regarding this on Saturday for all of you guys. So if you guys are interested into understanding the product, knowing how the 7 picks are selected and how you can utilize the 7 picks, and try and join LKP as well, to try and ensure that you are part of this increasing value product for your portfolio. I think this is going to be a one very important webinar. It's a free webinar, so it won't cost you other than your precious time. But after this, after maybe half an hour, 1 hour of interaction, which we'll do it on Saturday, you guys have a lot of positives to take away from the happenings of the product and how you can position a portion of your portfolio. So yes, you can keep some aspect of your portfolio from long term view, your choice of stocks. You can keep some for trading as well, but I think this is one important part, because as I said, it blends in both the characteristics of long term as well as short term. It's a moderate risk profile stock product, which I think is a USP of this product. We at least I have not seen across such kind of product and such kind of a diversification of the product across the industry. So that's one very important highlight to take note of. So I would request all of you guys that you take out time. Saturday is where we are planning the free webinar. I think the link is mentioned in the chat box in the bio as well. So ensure that you take out some bit of time and participate. And here, myself as well as Mr. Ranganathan, who's the I think the fundamental head, the head of research at LKP. He'll discuss on the fundamental aspect on how the product, the nitty-gritties of the products are, and I'll discuss more on the technical aspect and why I think at such a time, at such a time when trading, investing has become a bit fearful for market participants and investors, why I think you should hold on to your wits and then ensure that you should participate into something which is from a longer term view. So this is something very very attractive, and plus investing in this product doesn't require you to have lakhs of capital. It doesn't require something like what the PMS is and what the other kind of structures are offered in the industry. It's a very low capital intensive product. So I think in that regards, it should not be a hindrance for all of you guys to try and participate into the same. So I'll wait for you guys on Saturday. The link, as I said, is mentioned on the the chat box as well as on the bio. Take out some time. Saturday is where I'll see all of you guys for this interesting SPIP free webinar. Thank you so much, guys.